I've been checking out the YouTube, okay? And it seems we have an uprise again for them crazy nonsense Hebrews, or what you want to call Hebrews. They're out of control. So if you think that you're a black Hebrew, I don't have a problem with that. The problem comes in when you try to make everybody black Hebrews that are black, and then you disrespect the women. You never see the women out there in the street corner hooping and howling and screaming. You just see the crazy fools making up nonsense. So I don't have a problem with you if you're a black Hebrew, and if you think you're a black Hebrew. I don't have a problem with that, okay? Because black people have just as much right to be a Hebrew as white people, as Semitic people do. That's the truth, because it's a religion called Judaism. There was no J's back then. So that's their religious practices and their doctrine, so you have all the right to join any religion you want to. The problem arises when you have a religion, right, and you consider yourself the original black Hebrews, or we're the Hebrews, and nobody else can be a Hebrew, and then you start adding in falsified information, and that's when I come in. That's when the God killer comes in to kill that tomfoolery. So you seen those clips earlier, and they was talking about King James, the black King James. I'm sure y'all seen it. That's the tomfoolery roared for the century. King James is black. Now, the only reason you say that King James is black is because you can't explain calling a white man the devil, but yet take his book, right, and use it. You can't explain how King James, right, signed off on the King James Version of the Bible and still say that white people are the devil. So you say that God uses King James, but you say he's black, because then all of a sudden, because it's black, it becomes sacred and divine. That's not what makes something sacred and divine. So you can't say, well, King James is black, and that's why he gave us the King James Version of the Bible, because God works through black people. It's nonsense. Let's stop it. So I'm going to bring the verifiable evidence to show you that King James Stewart, King James, right, was not a black person. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the first picture, right? We want to deal with King James in the first picture. Deal with that. There's a certain art technique used here. Look at that. They say that that's, if you look on some YouTube videos, they say that that's King James and he's black. Yeah, that's a little dark a little bit because they use a certain drawing technique, and it's called cross-hatching. Okay? So they do that, and they use that to print. Okay? To run print. Like in books. When you print in books and the drawing stuff, you find those old books, right? This is the drawing technique they use, right? So sometimes it comes out a little darker. And the technique is called hatching and cross-hatching. Very simple. So that's not an original, that's a drawing, but it's not an original painting. Okay? So let's show what cross-hatching looks like for a moment, so you can see exactly what I'm talking about, the art techniques used, where things seem to be a little bit darker, but that's all it is, right? They cannot show you an original painting during his time showing that he's black. Matter of fact, that picture didn't even look black, but it was the drawing technique that made it appear to be black. So let's see that next one. Bam. See that? Cross-hatching. That's clearly a white guy, but they used a drawing technique called hatching and cross-hatching. I know, because I'm an artist. Okay? So that technique, cross-hatching again. That's still a white guy, but it's darkened up because of the drawing technique called hatching and cross-hatching. It's a method of drawing used to print. When you're trying to print out a book or a drawing or something in the book, you cross-hatch it and you dig it out, right? Put ink on it, and it stamps the pages, and there you have it. So I'm challenging the black Hebrews, right, to show me an original painting of that time, because it's very, very important. So we're going to come to an original painting of King James by the painter called John de Crez. John de Crez. There you go. That's an original painting of King James. He is not black. Now, why am I saying this? Why am I mentioning John de Cruz? Because John de Cruz, right, okay, was the member of painters, right, in the Dutch, amongst the Dutch, right, and the origin, the act of the English royal court. So he was a painter, all right, in the royal court. So they hired painters. They hired painters. Oh, get my mic right. Get that straight. We go back to John de Crez. Okay, John de Crez, right? He's a part of the royal painters, all right? Meaning during this time, right, the British and the monarchy, they always hired people to paint for them. And this was a specific job, yo, and they got paid a lot of money for it. And if they messed it up, it'd be off with your head. So trust me, they wasn't trying to make no mistake. So they had to show lifelike depictions, right, of these people of that time. Very, very simple, and it ain't even complicated. It's very, very easy to understand that. And so we got to get that straight. So John de Cruz, go ahead and Google that and look that up, right? He's a part of the English royal court during the reign of James I in England and Charles I of England, right? He held the post of Sergeant, S-E-R-J-E-A-N-T, painted to the king from 1603, right, at first jointly with Leonard Fraisse. These are the painters that worked in the royal court. They had to be artists, okay? They had to understand how to work in different media, all right? They had to be able to work in oil and fresco. These painters, the Impressionist painters, these were good painters, right? And so under no circumstance would they mess up the image of the kings or the queens or the royal court. They wouldn't mess that up. And so this is proof, right, that if they was to paint King James white and King James was black, they'd get their heads chopped off. Because you know they didn't play in them days. Let's go to the next one. Let's go to another painter. There's King James again, okay? We're talking about Adrian Vanson. Adrian Vanson. He was a court portrait painter to James V of Scotland. All right? Plain and simple. He's hired to paint the image of King James. Plain and simple, no doubt about it. As a matter of fact, right, as you look at that painting, I want to come to the book. Hold on, wait, whoa. I want to come to the book by Adam Nicholas Nelson, right? God's secretaries, right? And he has a picture in the book, and he says that James V, King of Scotland, and a portrait attributed to Adrian Vanson, right? Painted in 1595 when he was 29 years old. So this is when King James was 29 years old. His worry covered look was the product of a difficult and often depressing youth. So that picture is showing King James, right, in 1595. Excellent work. I'm an artist, and I'm telling you it's excellent work. If King James was black, they would have showed it right there, because you got to draw the man like he looked, or that's your butt. They will kill you during them times if the painter's messed up. They got paid thousands of dollars yearly to paint the images of the royal court. Very interesting right there. Now we're moving on. And since King James is black, then he should at least have a black mother, because you know y'all give Barack Obama a pass. I don't mind. That's fine. But if you're black, you should at least have a black mother or a black father. Right or wrong? Okay? So let's see how King James' mother. There's King James' mother right there. King James' mother. Her name is Mary Stuart. See that? She looked white as a lily. Painted again, right, by those painters that got paid thousands of dollars to represent the image because they didn't have cameras then. All right? Look at his mother. She's not a black woman. She's a white woman, and she's a Stuart. Do you know what a Stuart is? A Stuart is the royal line. It's the dynasty, okay, that ran England. The Stuarts. Some say the Stuarts are black. Well, whatever. Those particular Stuarts wasn't black, and I don't care what you say the word means. Let's move on to his daddy, Henry Stuart, the father of King James. Let's get a mental picture. Let's see exactly what the father of King James looked like. There you go. And he's looking a little sweet and soft there. There you have it. So we know where he got his tendencies from. Look at his daddy. He's not a real tough guy, and you know he wasn't trying to fight nobody. That's his father. That's his dad, Henry Stuart. You got to toughen up a little bit, Mr. Henry. Boy, so we see his mother and we see his father. How in the world do you get a black person out of that? What are these crazy Hebrews talking about? Tell them to show you pictures from that time. Show them paintings of that time. Do not allow them to show you a print that is used for printing, that is drawn with cross-hatching, that makes things appear darker than they really are. Don't let them do that to you. because it's called tomfoolery to suck you in to a religion that kills your mind. They have no real facts. They have no real evidence, so they make this nonsense up. So we're going to move right along. So let's just say that King James is black, since that's what y'all want to say. You want to say King James is black. What in the hell does that have to do with the Bible? If King James was black, what does that have to do with the Bible? King James was not an interpreter. King James was not a linguist. King James did not know Hebrew. King James did not know Greek. So all King James could do was just commission people and sign off on it. So let's deal with how the people look that actually brought the King James work in. Let's show you the translators. That's what we want to do. They actually have pictures of the translators that translated the Bible or the Bible. Okay? Here you go. That's one of your first translators here. You got Richard Bancroft, Archbishop of Canterbury, and the principal organizer of the King James Bible. There you go. He's white as a lily. He couldn't care about you and your black. He wouldn't care. Look at him. He's the primary translator. He's the organizer. Look at him. Look him up. He's a bishop. His mind is already filled with Christianity. He's supporting slavery. But he's a translator. That's who you need to do the research on. Do the research on him and see what kind of life he lived as a person from Canterbury. It's right there. Let's go to the next translator. We're talking about Mr. Andrews, Sir Lancelot. Lancelot Andrews. He's the chief translator. Look at him. Why, by George, I think we've got it. Look at him. That's him. That's how they look. That's him. That's a true image of who that is. Here, once again, he's white as a lily. That is the depiction of him. And he sat down at the table and helped translate from the Hebrew to the Greek. That's him, not King James. So if King James is black, so what? He still had no power because he do not know Hebrew and he do not know Greek. So you're still losing Hebrews. Now you're down by 30 right now. We're going to pile it on. We're going to go to the next translator. We're going to go to Sir Henry Saville. He's a translator. Let's see if he's black. Oh, no. What is that around his neck? I don't want to hear. That's that Morris garb. Don't y'all do it. Don't y'all do it. That's Henry of Saville. Sir Henry Saville, and he's a translator of the King James Bible. That's that guy right there, and he's white as a lily. Very, 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 very interesting. We're looking at this, right? It's about 50 to nothing now. Hebrews and the tomfoolery is nonsense. We're breaking it down. Let me make some sense of what I'm saying. What I am saying here is, just for jokes and giggles, if you want to make King James black, what in the world does that have to do with the actual translation of the Bible? Oh, well, yeah. You know, well, God uses men like King James to translate the Bible. Obviously not, because King James didn't translate the Bible. He had people to translate the Bible, and he used all white people. Let's go to the next translator, Miles Smith. He's also a bishop, and he's a translator. He's a very old man there, and he's white as a lily. See that? He's one of your translators. He's what you consider, that's what God uses to translate the King James Bible. So that's what I'm talking about when I say it's a European book. It's a European book because they use European people to translate it, using the ideas and concepts out of their mind. Let's go on to the next translator. George Abbott, Archbishop of Canterbury. He's also a translator. And man, now he's really, really white as a lily. Look at him. What are we talking about here? It's very, very interesting, and I'm amazed at the foolery level. See, we're way smarter than you thought we was. You thought we was going to let you get away with that. So we got George Abbott, Archbishop of Canterbury. That ain't in Africa now. He ain't no Hebrew. Where we at next? Now, here's the real black king. No, the black King James. See, that's that picture they use right there to say that's that black King James. But see, you can't trick us no more because we understand that there's an art technique called cross-hatching, okay? and it makes the picture appear to be darker than what it is, and you can Google that, Google images, and you'll find that that's actually a page out of a book. It's not it's not a painting from the royal court, which they have commissioned. Look at that right in front of your face, okay?